Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Dear Honey podcast. I-
All right.
I'm Janicia.
I threw you off your groove.
You did a little bit. It's okay,
Okay,
though.
I'm sorry. Redo it then.
No, we going to keep it in.
No, we can redo it. I insist.
Okay. And we are live in three, two, one. Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Dear Honey podcast. I am Janicia. You go. And this is my husband, Ed. We are millennials discussing marriage, dating, and I guess being millennials. You're not going to say anything?
Well, you said I threw you off your groove the last time. I was letting you get your groove in. I was waiting on my cue.
I, okay. Introduce yourself.
I am Ed Perry. I am the husband of Miss Janicia Perry. Just so excited to be here tonight or today or whatever time it is that you're watching this. It's actually Thursday at 7 p.m. And we are live right now. I know it says it was pre-recorded, but this is live, and we are here to talk to you in this moment about being millennials in love, happily married. Oh, what does that mean? Happily married, man. I mean, I tell you, I'm gonna have to break that down one day, just not tonight. But I'm happily married. We're happily married. I hope I'm not over speaking. And we're here tonight to sit and talk with our family.
You know, this really gives me youth pastor vibes.
Well, no youth pastor here tonight. Hey, yo, what's up, shorty? Yo, we here
Oh.
tonight to talk about what's going down in this piece. You hear what I'm saying, man? Yo, for reals? Yeah, we getting ready to get up all up in the jizzy tonight, yo, for shizzy, my nizzy.
No, we're not going to do that either.
We're not going to do that. Okay, well, I don't know what else to do other than myself. So, dear,
Yes, honey.
I want to know what a lot of people may have questions about. Why did you get married? Why did I get married? Why do people get married? I was talking with somebody earlier this week, and he says, you know, I was married 3 times, and not once did I get married for love. Which brings us here.
That is very sad.
Well, I'm not gonna put his business out in the street, but that's what he said. I didn't say it. I
Three
only been married
times.
one time.
You only going to be married one time.
You right about that, cause after this, if it goes south, that's it for me.
Um, that's a tough question. Why did I get married? Um, the first thing that comes to mind is I guess I would kind of put it the same way like why I got baptized. It's like a public declaration of your love. It's not I mean, aside from the legalities of it, it didn't really change our relationship because we were already living together. We had been together for uh 5 years by the time we got married. So it didn't really change the dynamics of our relationship, but to me it was just a public declaration of our love, a public declaration that I plan to spend the rest of my life with you.
That was just so profound and sweet. And
It's the fairy tale.
no, it wasn't a fairy tale. I mean, I know this. I thought it was every girl's dream to get married and have the big grand wedding.
Before you, I did not really see myself getting married. I felt like I was supposed to feel like, oh, I'm supposed to get married. I'm supposed to want this big grand wedding. Which the wedding, yes, I will take any excuse to get dolled up, to get my hair and makeup done, to put on a nice outfit. But actual marriage, I felt like I was just supposed to want that, not necessarily that I actually wanted it. Same thing for kids. I felt like as a woman, I'm supposed to want kids, but I didn't actually want kids until I fell in love with you.
Okay, now before I answer why did I get married, you said something that you kind of skated past. You said that you just got married for it was a public declaration of your love and all of that. So, is it necessary for people to get married? Is that the only way to publicly display your love and adoration uh, for a partner through marriage, or is that just the ultimate? That's it. If you get married, that means something. That's the stamp. That's, as my father would say, that's the good housekeeping seal of approval on it. That's it.
I think that that is subjective. Um, I think that I go back to comparing it to a baptism. I feel like it's not literally that when you're dipped in the water that you're washed clean, or you know what I'm saying? It's just a ceremonial. Lord Jesus, my words. It's just a ceremonial declaration. And because I am a Christian, um, that includes a wedding, because you're not only am I declaring my love for you, we are inviting God into our marriage as well. And that's just aside from the legalities of it. I feel like when it comes to life planning, things are just easier when you're married for certain things. Like um, when you have kids, signing the birth certificate, depending on where you live, um, there are lots of different stipulations about you signing the birth certificate. Or God forbid, if something happened to me, if we don't have a plan in place, then my next of kin is my mother, even though you know me better than anybody else, even though you know how I would want to live, or like if I was paralyzed from the neck down, or if I was going to be a vegetable, you know what I would actually want. Um so aside from the legalities, I don't really think that it's necessary. I think that it is subjective, and it's just that if you and your partner want it. My faith tells me that I should get married because of, uh non-marital sex, and that's pretty much it.
That's the only thing. The sex is why you had to get married.
From a biblical standpoint, I think that not just sex, I think that in the Bible, the only thing that God compares his love for us to is the love between a husband and wife. So, in that sense, I do think that it's substantial. Um, and then also when it comes to like prayer and being covered, I think that there's a reason why we came of a rib. We're supposed to, your rib protects your vital organs. And that is what I am to you. I'm your, even though you are the protector of the family, I'm supposed to protect you too, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense to me. If somebody's shooting, one of us got to jump in front of it.
That is not what I meant.
That's absolutely what I meant.
So, Mr. Perry, why did you get married?
I got married for three specific reasons. Three specific
I just want to
reasons.
point out, going back to the youth pastor thing, you got your 3 points.
I got my three specific reasons, especially as it relates to the marriage of a millennial man. Three. Three reasons. Look at somebody say three reasons why he got married. I remember
We're
even
not gonna
as
do
I
this.
was a
Can
little
we?
boy,
This is
I
gonna take forever.
would walk to school and I would pray every morning, God, send me my wife, send me my wife, send me my wife. And the three reasons here they are. Reason number one that I decided I wanted to get married was because I love the Cosby Show. Now don't cancel the podcast, don't cancel the show, don't click off. I'm not saying we're not gonna even get into that. I just love the Cosby Show. Feel how you want to feel about it. I still love the Cosby Show. All right. And growing up, I had very few examples of marriage presented to me. My parents didn't work out. They didn't stay together. I did have relatives in Macon. So I would go and see like my aunt or my older cousins and see their marriage and everything like that. But on a daily basis, I did not have that in the home. But the one thing that I could depend on every single day, sometimes on demand, whenever I wanted to have a relation or an example of it, I could tune in to the Cosby Show and see Heathcliff and Claire Huxtable. And that was just black love to me. That was the epitome of love. I wanted to marry a girl like Claire Huxtable. I wanted her to be bilingual. You know, Claire could speak Spanish and English. I wanted her to be 10 times smarter than the average bear. I wanted her to just blow people out of the water. I wanted her to be a fashionista. I mean, I can dress. There's no secret. I can dress now. But I wanted her to outdo me. I wanted her to, just murder. This was my ideal woman, and that was just the epitome to me. So that was reason number one, because I saw it on the Cosby Show. I wanted that to be my reality. All right. The third, no, I done skipped
Second.
number two.
No,
I'm
you're
so
number two.
excited about Claire Huxtable. The second reason I got married is because also growing up, even today, I always knew that I would be a very successful, wealthy, well known person.
Hmm.
That's kind of conceited to say that. No, it's not being conceited. I just saw what was to come. Oh, whoo, boy, I'm getting myself excited. Anyway, I just knew what was to come, and what I did not want to happen was, I didn't want to make it to the dreams that I had or the goal that I had set in place and have everything, and then it's impossible for me to get somebody that genuinely loves and likes me for me.
Regardless of the income or the
Regardless of,
fame.
I wanted you to get me while I was poor, when I ain't have nothing, when my butt was scrubbing the ground. Cause then it ain't no doubt that you love me. If you dealing with me while I'm poor, I can't even afford the other OR. I'm just po. If you with me for that, that says something profound and we could grow together. And I always said, even before we met, I always told everybody, I said, you know what? If I do get married now and I have nothing, and for whatever reason it doesn't work out and we divorce, I would not mind giving that woman half of everything I attain, because she's earned it. She's been there with me. She's helped me build, everything that we have. So I wouldn't mind giving a half. That was even before I knew who my wife was. I was saying that. And I still mean it today. So if you take me to court, you can use this as evidence that I did say it if it goes south. This episode right here, I did say I would give half to this woman because she was with me while I was poor. Unless, you scoundrel, you went out and you cheated, then you ain't getting jack shiggity. Now put that into evidence. Okay. All right. And then the third and final reason as to why I got married is because, you know what? Actually, I forgot what the third reason was. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Watch this. Because I believed in the power and influence the right love could create. I believed in the power and influence the right love could create. Listen, it's a lot of things you can do in this world by yourself. But if you have somebody on your side that multiplies and amplifies what you can offer, you killing the game, man. It's got to be the right kind of love, though. That's the thing. It's got to be the right kind of lover. I'll never need another. Show enough, you got the stuff. You the right kind of lover for me. That's a Patti LaBelle song, but anyway, that's the third reason why I knew that if I was gonna be this great, profound person that I saw in my mind growing up, and even now, I had to have somebody that was gonna make me better than what I could. They would multiply my greatness. For example, you got Steve and Marjorie Harvey. Steve Harvey was great before, but when Marjorie comes in, he's much better. Barack
Mm-hmm.
Obama, great man before, but when Michelle Obama comes in, I mean, he takes off. So that's really what I wanted. Those are the top three reasons for me as to why I got married.
You said something that I want to go back to. You said that for you, the Cosbys represented an example of marriage. Do you think that you having this vision of marriage, or what you thought that a marriage was, affected or affects how our marriage is?
Absolutely. I brought a lot of different people into this marriage. I brought
Let's
Heathcliff
let's
into.
state that these are fictional people. We're not talking about like illegitimate kids or like side pieces.
No, I mean, it's no secret. I had a child when we came into the. Look, we got one jumping in the frame right now. It's no secret that you brought a child into this marriage.
The four-legged
Uh,
babies,
yeah, put a
Reggie and
picture up.
Maxwell.
Show the picture of the children. One of them is no longer here with us, but I did bring a child into this marriage. That's not what I was talking about, but since you want to bring it up,
Okay, I'm sorry. You brought Heath.
I brought Heathcliff Huxtable into this marriage. I brought Steve Harvey into this marriage. I brought uh, James Reeves, very much so. A lot of James Reeves
Who
into
who
this
is
marriage.
James Reeves for the people
James
watching?
Reeves is my grandfather. And like I said, growing up, I would go to Macon, Georgia, where all of my mother's side um, lives in Macon, Georgia. And one of the first examples of marriage I saw was James and Mary Reeves. I was on Ruby Drive in Macon, Georgia, growing up in that house, and I was with my grandparents all the time. And the way they showed love to each other may have been a little different or unique,
Unorthodox.
unorthodox. And so I brought that into our marriage. It's no secret. Um, I don't think it worked so well when I brought James into the marriage, but everybody else, for the most part, it worked out. What about you?
You want to say why James didn't work for you?
James and Mary Reeves were the best people in the world, but when they got together, they could raise so much hell and fuss and fight and insult each other and call each other names. But at the end of the day, they really did. I never saw my grandfather cry in life. Never, ever in life. Until I went to my grandmother's funeral and I saw my grandfather cry like a newborn baby. It was just breathtaking to me to see what happened. As I got older, I found out a lot of things about my grandparents I didn't know and how their relationship with. But as a child, that was the thing that I saw, and I saw just how profound his love was, which is why in the next coming episodes, I'm gonna refer back to what I just said right now. It's gonna be very important in the upcoming episode that we got planned that I'm excited for. I'm so excited I can't even wait to tell you about it. But yes, so that's why James didn't work because he was loud and boisterous and um, very vulgar. His vulgarity sometimes would come across as harsh to some people. But if you grew up in Macon, Georgia, it was nothing.
And we are back. We had to take a brief intermission, but we were about to discuss the examples of marriage that I had. So, the biggest, well, I'll save the biggest for last. Actually, coincidentally, in my family, getting married young or like to your high school sweetheart is super common. Like, my cousins have been together since high school. My parents got married right after high school. My aunt and her husband started dating in high school. Um, I mean, my mom and dad didn't work out, but other than that, everybody else is still with their high school sweetheart. But my ultimate example of marriage that I saw the most prominently was also my grandparents. And for me, they weren't the Huxtables per se, um, but it was them against the world. Like my grandparents, from my viewpoint, had a very strong union, and everybody else was a secondary thought. And I especially saw that when my grandmother had went into a coma for like 4 months, 3 or 4 months, and that was when I really got to see the extent of my grandfather's love for my grandma. Because like growing up, we're not like super affectionate with like our family members. So I didn't get to see like the lovey-dovey side. I got to see him provide. Like my grandmother wanted for nothing. If she wanted something, even though he gonna complain about it, he's gonna get it for her. You get what I'm saying? So when she went in a coma, my granddaddy went up there every single day while she was in a coma. Went to the hospital. We were taking turns spending the night, but he went, made sure he went for a few hours every single day. And then after she woke up, she had to go to a rehabilitation center. And because of the coma and some other things, like, you know, when you go through something that traumatic, like, you can be mean. Like, and it's like, I know that she was only like that because of like brain damage and things like that. But if I drive an hour to come see you at rehabilitation and you cussing me out the first thing I come through the door, and we've already discussed that I don't like being yelled and cussed at, I'm gonna leave. I'm ready to go. But my granddaddy, he didn't care. He'll let her cuss him out. He still went every single day, and that was from what, like the end of January till July, whether it was an hour drive or a 15-minute drive. And that, like you said, when it concerned her, that was the only time I've ever seen my granddaddy cry. Like when, like at one point in time, they were telling us to, you know, evaluate hospice because she wasn't gonna make it. That was the first time. And when his mom passed, um, but that was the first time I like. I mean, he shed a tear, you know, tear or two when his mom passed. But when they were talking about my grandma not making it, that's when I saw like my granddaddy, like you said, cry like a newborn. And what was the follow up question? Did I bring it into our marriage? I definitely think I did, especially my grandparents, the whole, um, especially the us against the world thing. Like to me, everybody else is secondary. Like they're, um, it sounds bad, but uh, everybody else is secondary. My home, to me right now, my family is me, you, Reggie, and baby Jay. Uh, and then everybody else is extended family. My mom, my sisters, your mom, your sisters, you know, cousins, everybody. Everybody else is extended family to me because this is my household.
I find it interesting that both of us used our grandparents as the point of reference for what we would bring into our marriage, or what we would base the marriage off of. And a lot of older marriages, um,
We're toxic.
they were toxic. Like I said, I found out a lot of things about my grandparents as I got older. I'm sure you found out some things about yours, and then just older marriages in general. Like I said, I talked with somebody um, earlier this week about why he got married, and he said, "I got married 3 times, and not once did I marry for love." And I was like, "Well, why did you get married in the first place?" I just, for the life of me, could not understand why he got married at all. And he said, "Well, for the first wife, I don't really know. That's just what people were doing at the time. So I just did it. And then he went to the second one. He was like, on the second time around, I really don't know. I guess I just did it. I needed something for business, or it was she seemed like she had a head on as it related to business. And then the third time was the most craziest one I got. He said, I just needed somewhere to lay my head.
It's you pointed out that it's a difference in generations, and not just in our marriage and how it flows, but millennials in general either wait, like we're not getting married as, well, not us, but most millennials don't get married as early as like our parents did, or they don't get married at all. But for the ones who are getting married, the divorce rate is dropping. Is You think that that could be because we're waiting to get married, because we're not, hopefully we're not just getting married for somewhere to lay our head? Do you think that millennials have been more conscious of who we're marrying and why we're marrying?
Well, I mean, the dynamics have changed in general as it relates to just men and women in general. I'm quite sure, just hearing the stories from the people in the past. Like even if you watch older movies about marriages, the man always beating the hell out of the wife. Just bam, woman, I told you not to. Boom, didn't I tell you to cook them grits? Bam. I mean, he just knocking hell out of her. Now you might get a couple of beatings every now and then in a relationship with man and women, with men and women, but nine
It's
times out of
not
ten,
as
that
common.
woman is knocking the hell out of him too. They fighting each other, hand and nail. It's not even. Or it ain't a man and a woman no more. It's man and woman, and the dynamics in that change. So now I'm quite sure they had people on the down low back in the day who may have been marrying
Looks.
just for looks. I can't let it be known that I'm gay, or I can't let it be known that me and Dick over here have been together for 4 years, and I just cannot afford to. I can lose everything, and so now you got people that are being themselves. They're more happier in general. Like you said, couples now are getting married for with a clearer head. Back then, women didn't really work.
There was a shotgun weddings a
If you
lot
get
too.
somebody pregnant, you gotta marry them. My daddy and my mom said, I got this baby, and we got to get married in the next 2 weeks because we don't want nobody to have suspicions. So, I mean, it was so many different dynamics then compared to what it is now. I think that is why the millennials are changing the dynamics and the divorce rate is declining. But ironically, I don't I don't know a lot of older couples that got divorced. Even if they didn't get married for love, they stayed married. So I don't know why the divorce rate. I think it was my grandparents stayed married for a long
But
time.
then our parents didn't.
The parents didn't. So it's that generation that came after them, and then we're picking it back up. But this time it's better. It's better than it was before. That's the only thing I can think of.
Was there something that you saw growing up from those examples of marriage that you were just adamant, I'm not going to bring this into my marriage?
I did see. It's gonna kind of be oxymoronic. My parents always fought like cats and dogs. They just whenever they were together, they were fighting and disagreeing about something. But it was different than what I saw with my grandparents. They fussed and fought like cats and dogs, but it was just something different. And I was determined that while I would bring the fun banter and the fun play that my grandparents had with cursing each other out, I wouldn't bring um, the toxicity. That's an SAT word for you. That I saw demonstrated in my. It was almost as if it was just a different kind of fight,
Hmm.
you know. And I was determined that I would not do to my mom some of the things I saw my dad say or some of the things that, you know, I just didn't want to bring that in. I didn't want to bring that in. Um, so like I said, I did bring the arguing, the fun banter of fussing and cussing, but I didn't want to degrade or demean or say anything that would intentionally hurt my wife.
Okay.
That's it. You just you
It
stunned or
just
something?
was wondered. I wondered, it popped up in my head.
What you wonder? What did you wonder?
If my question, if you saw something that you were like, no, I'm not bringing this into my marriage.
That was, the other thing I didn't see a lot of was affection, which I think is why I'm not as. You're very touchy feely.
I am.
You always like to be up under me. You always like, I can have the funkiest breath on earth and just fart, and you just sit there right in it, right up under me. Whereas I tend to be like, all right now, you ain't got enough of me yet. You ain't sick of me yet. God, dog.
I also think that that's a difference between most men. Well, I can't say that. Most relationships that I've observed have somebody who is more affectionate and someone who's more reserved, whether it's the man or the woman. It's normally, from what I've seen, I can't really think of a relationship that doesn't have that dynamic.
Well, you just said that you didn't see it, and growing up, you didn't see a lot of
Oh, my
people being
grandmother
touchy.
wanted it. She wanted affection. Like she wanted to, go out on dates and hold hands and stuff. And he but around the house, no, not really. But they also like we weren't the let's have dinner together every night type family. Like when you got home from school or work, everybody pretty much separated and went to their own rooms. So ain't no telling what happened in there.
So now, is this something that you saw that you didn't want to bring into a marriage or this marriage?
I think the biggest thing for me that I did not want to bring into our marriage was like a love of money, like a money hungry, like a money hungry, like a big issue that I saw with my parents, or an issue that I have. I don't know if my mother had this issue, but an issue that I had with my father was the fact that he was my dad was the type of person who would work three jobs, not because like we were financially struggling. He just felt like we always needed more money. His thing was, I want to leave you a legacy or something like that. And so but it made me feel away because I never had any time with you. You know what I'm saying? So, not to say that you can't be chasing your bag out here. You have every right to chase your bag. But at the end of the day, I also want to feel special. I also want to go out on dates. I want some time with you. You shouldn't be working to the point where there is no relationship here, if that makes sense.
That's a delicate balance. I don't think you can effectively chase the bag and effectively be there for your family. That's a totally different topic in another episode, so I'm not going to touch it. But I do think it's a delicate balance to doing that. I'm not going to get into it. We're going to stay on topic. Um, so, what is something that you saw from just growing up in your marriages and now it's not just marriage. I mean, now this marriage is about to involve
Kid.
a kids eventually, one kid right now, but and even the dog that keeps jumping up in the frame.
Something that I saw that I wanted to bring in, some of the traditional wife roles, like I enjoy fixing your plate. Oh Lord. I enjoy fixing your plate or making sure you're good. I don't particularly enjoy cooking all the time, but I will do it. that I think that I did want to bring in that us against the world type thing. Um, and as it relates to kids, uh, my mom made it a goal for us to do like something as a family every so often, whether that was like Disney on Ice or going to the zoo or something, like just, or going to the movies, or even if it was something free, just like going to the park, making it, or like for me, the best parts of my childhood were like days where weekends where we would just like build forts, like we would turn the whole living room into a fort with like sheets and pillows and stuff, or like we would play hide and go seek in the dark, like my sisters and my parents. We would play it for like, well, it felt like hours. I don't know if it was really hours, but when it comes to our kids, I I want to be involved. I want us to have family moments, those memories that when they get older they'll cherish. What about you?
Of course, I do want to bring in those family moments and things like that. I think that's like a Cosby Show esque um, marriage principle that the family does activities that help build and establish relationship and the groundwork for family. So I agree with you on that. Um, the other thing that I really appreciate my mom for um, instilling in me was the spirituality and making sure you have a foundation in church and prayer um, and God. And she gave me so much confidence in who I was as a person. I want to make sure I even did that when we first started
Mm-hmm.
dating. I was like, you got to have this confidence in yourself. It's the best thing on earth that you can have. And when my son comes, that's going to be something I try and give him. You are the best thing on this earth. You got to believe it. Go for your dreams and everything. And my father gave me one of the greatest gifts um, that I always got to give him credit for. We had a lot of ups and downs, and we bumped heads on a lot of things. He may not have been a great husband or the best father, but the one thing he did give me was support. He gave me whatever dream I had at the moment. He was like, "Yeah, you can do it." That's my dad's face. Yeah, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Dad, I want to be a comedian. And everybody else be like, well, I don't know. You ain't even that funny, Ed. I don't know. No, you can do it. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, that's right. Daddy, I'm going to be the best janitor on the... Dad, you can do it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You can do it. Yeah, and he just gave me that no matter what it was. And I would like to give that same gift to my son, to you, to whoever it is that I'm responsible for overseeing. So those are the two things. They weren't married, but that's what I would like to bring into the parenting aspect of this marriage. Those two things that my parents gave me.
I have an idea. I
What's
have an
that?
idea because we are about to be parents, and we are I'm almost 8 months pregnant now, and it is hard. And I do think we're going to do an episode about pregnancy. Let's get this video. Let's see how many. We can start small. We're just starting. Let's get this video to 50 likes, and we will have Ed do the watermelon challenge.
And what is the watermelon
The
challenge?
watermelon challenge is where he will have to strap on a watermelon as if it is a pregnant belly to live a day in my life. Just 50. So you need to like and share so that we can make him do it, and we'll vlog the day of you doing this.
I'm down for the challenge. No problem.
50 likes. So y'all gotta get us there.
Okay.
It was real random, but I just thought about it.
Yeah, I mean it came out of nowhere, but I'm up for the challenge. I mean, how hard could it possibly be?
Women, help me, help me.
I'm down for the challenge. Either way it goes, I would love to do that. I know it's been a long, hard journey for you. Definitely want to commend you and congratulate you, telling you doing a great job with this pregnancy. You're glowing every single day. Really, seriously, I really do mean that. So good job. Keep up the good work. We're almost to the finish line. You're almost free, and things will get easier.
Okay. And then one last question to close out the show. Are you well, you kind of said it earlier, but if you could go back, would you have still gotten married? Are you happy with the way that things turned out, or would you have done something differently?
If I'm being honest, and this is me being completely open and honest, you guys bring out the best in me on this podcast. So I always like to be honest and open. I would still get married. I would still do everything just as it was. I wouldn't change a thing. However, and I might be sleeping on the couch after I say this, but you guys bring out the best in me. However, before I got married, all of the elder men in my life were like, "Man, you crazy as hell. What you doing that for? You ain't even sown your royal oats yet, man. What you talking about?" And I was so in love, and I was like, "Man, you don't know what you're talking about." And I'm in love, but we're gonna always just be how we're gonna take showers together. We're just gonna be a wow.
So you would have sown your royal oats.
I probably wouldn't, cause I'm quite sure if I were out there, I probably wouldn't have a chance. But in my mind, I would have liked to have been a playboy for like 30 days and then get married.
That's understandable.
That's just me being realistic. Just I want to keep it open and honest with you people out there watching so that you guys can take this into your relationship. The best remedy is honesty.
That makes perfect sense to me.
What you mean it makes perfect sense? You out here thinking about sowing your royal oats?
Nope.
Okay then, well it don't make perfect sense.
It makes sense for you to say that.
Why it makes sense to me? I'm a holy boy. I'm a church boy. I'm a preaching boy. I'm a preacher's kid. What do you say? Come on, look at your neighbor right now and tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, I need about 3 or 4 of you
Sir, goodbye.
to
No.
say
No.
it's been fun. It's been good. This has been a wonderful episode. Why did I get married? Well, I'll tell you. Look at somebody and say, I got
I
married
guess we're just going to end every episode with him
because
cutting up.
the Lord
Thank you guys for tuning
said it's
in.
good.
Episode 3
I got
of the Dear Honey
married
podcast. Remember,
because
get
the
this video to
Lord
50 likes so that we can do this
said
challenge. So like and
love
share, and we will see you all
is
next
good.
Thursday at 7.